Hello all and welcome to another episode of Lights, Camera, Akron. We've missed you. As always, I'm your host, Tyrese West.
And I'm Naquan James, bringing you the latest news in Akron. We are in the home stretch of 2020, and what an eventful year it has been.
You can say that again. With everything that has happened from the pandemic to the election and everything in between, it'll be nice to take a breather from all the commotion and recognize some of the good things that are happening in the community as well.
I think we have just a person to help with that. Our team spoke with Fred Barrett, the creator and curator of sociallygoodtv.com, an independent media outlet, for more. Let's watch.
In these times, the narrative of untrustworthy media is heavily polarized. People find it hard to find a positive story. Socially Good TV is a platform which these good stories are told.
Alrighty, so good morning, Mr.
Morning.
Fred Barrett. Thank you again for joining us today.
You're welcome. Good to be here.
How have you been managing, keeping up with finding content and making media?
As you know, media is really a message, which is a story. And if you focus on the story, that one story, that becomes your belief, that becomes your attitude, that becomes your demeanor, everything. Start creating my own story, or I'll find someone that's trying to do good during all this anxiety. So I try to bring that balance in there. Now, it's a struggle when you have 10, 20, 30 people around you and it's COVID. So I just tend to read, or I try to look for other content to try to keep telling different stories. That's what keeps me balanced.
Having a good story can make a perpetually bad community into a good one.
I really didn't expect it to grow, to be honest. I cared about the people. If you don't see good things around your community, your personal belief or your story, you won't appreciate your community, so everything around you will be bad. There's many people who will see my stories will say, "Oh, I didn't know that was going on," and I live right there.
Perspective is a powerful thing. And as media creators, our mastery of perspective can mean the difference in the impact of the stories that we create. He says that finding a balance between the good and the bad is what makes creating media in these times so difficult. But his love for what he does and the good things in the community inspire him every day to keep on going.
Then I started asking myself this question: why are they not appreciating the stuff they already have? Well, because they don't see it. So I just went around and started filming things, from staying here with events to stories with the acronyms and what have you. And then over time, I kept asking myself, why am I doing this? And I said, well, I need to come up with my own brand. And one day I just woke up and I realized I was doing this for the social good. Then hence named the Socially Good TV. And I kept doing it and boom, it was organic.
Having over 25 years of experience has taught him the flow of his audience. He gives some insight on the importance of knowing your audience.
You have to let the people celebrate you. Once you help the people shine and help them and let them feel good to see themselves, they will celebrate you. This is about the community. This is about them. It's not about you. It's about the community. Reflect the community, and the community will raise you up and you become a celebrity. They will recognize your name. But get your personality and your ego out the way. Let the people uplift you by giving you stories. Because the more they see you, the more stories they will give to you. And then there you go.
Looking out for each other is one of the key aspects that brings the community together. Togetherness makes a story, and putting that into light is the goal of any media creator.
It's a matter of how you use it. When it goes back to telling that good thing, that good story. When you're trying to uplift the community, you have to remember there's a lot of people in the community. That's a lot of weight. I can't do it as frequent as I would like to, but I also have a slogan that the value of the community is determined by the story being shown. If there's no story, then quote unquote, there's no community.
Fred Barrett and I will continue to tell our stories for the sake of our community.
So it's a whole, if you realize the big purpose of media, the better the message will be.
Tyrese West, Lights, Camera, Akron, ZTV. There's nothing like seeing a community come together. And better yet, everyone's seeing it. Wouldn't you agree?
I completely agree. It's nice to see that people can unify for a good cause, especially during times like these.
Absolutely. I think we all could benefit from a different perspective. Which brings me to our next segment. For most people, college has been more of an adjustment. It takes a lot to learn, not only from others, but about yourself as well.
College is a place where many people discover themselves, make lifelong friends, and crucial connections. We worked on helping Jason Render, a senior, and his guest Victor Wells on his first iteration of the I Eat podcast produced by LCA. Let's take a look.
Hello everybody, my name is Jason Render and I'm currently a senior here at the University of Akron and you're watching the I Eat podcast. So I Eat stands for the Inclusive Excellence Action Team and we're a student group brought on campus to promote inclusivity and promote unity on the University of Akron's campus through providing different services and things like that, connecting students and to administration as well. And today we're starting our first I Eat podcast with Vic Wells and we're going to be talking about the experiences of a first generation Black college student. So first things first, welcome Vic.
Thank you.
How are you doing, man?
All is well, brother. How you feeling?
Man, it's good. Yeah, it's cold outside, but it's good though.
It's cold, but it's ready. It's Friday.
Yeah, it is Friday.
Good Friday. Well, I was like, man, I'm kind of at an imbalance right now.
Okay, you said imbalance before. You're like, I'm feeling a little off, but now you're like balance.
Cause I'm happy like overall and stuff like that. But we was talking about like classes and stuff, school and work. And I'm like, man, I just ain't. I'm like imbalanced because physically, like we in 2020, we in the fall semester, week 12 or whatever. We gotta get it going. You feel me? We gotta finish out strong, all the other stuff. I'm looking around at my classes and whatnot, but I'm like, mentally, like I'm like I just said in 2021, thinking about like the spring calendar, what's going on, like trying to be hopeful for what's coming forward with just globally and then nationwide, new president, new changes and stuff.
And talk to me about that though. You said like being here mentally though, because I feel like especially like personally, it's like right here we've had a crazy election that just ended, and we're still going through COVID and stuff like that, and we're in school, full-time students and everything else like that, other things going on. So it's like mentally, you said like I'm here, but I'm not really here. Like how are you feeling like mentally, like on the mental?
Mentally, I've been there. You feel me? I've been thinking about like how to prepare myself. Like I said, I'm still in school. I'm about to get ready to get up out of here. But like I graduated in 2021, so I'm thinking about the lifestyle that I want to live when I graduate. But right now, like physically, I'm here trying to plant the seeds, but while still plant the seeds for that lifestyle, but still maintain and keep going with what's around me. You feel me?
Yeah.
The power of now, exercising like what's here now.
You were a first generation Black college student, which is a way different experience than what any of us had. I personally, I didn't even have that experience here at the University of Akron. But what were some of the obstacles that you were looking at coming on in as a freshman?
All right, so before we go to college, you feel me?
Oh yeah, we gotta start high school.
Senior year of high school. I was one of maybe like 7 other out of 20 or 30 that was really trying to go to college. When I went and made the decision to go to college, I remember just going through the process of like filling out the FAFSA and stuff. But I had to learn all this new information, but my mom didn't know because she never. You feel me? My dad didn't know because he went to college. I come and ask my uncles and them because it was like they didn't know. You feel me? Some of them knew, but they were it's been so long or whatnot. But that right there is where it get real too. So that's one thing that I definitely wanted to touch on. High school and senior year in high school, I'm already thinking about, you feel me, college. And I'm thinking like, what we doing? But when I made the decision, it definitely was like stepping into a new, you know what I'm saying, new reality. Even expressing that to myself. So academics was a huge part. Financials played a part too as well. Academically, personally, not really so much financially, like besides like was tuition and all that stuff, but funding your own lifestyle, providing for yourself and whatnot in college. I think that was a problem too. And then I would say that was the only obstacles I faced and whatnot. Those were the biggest ones that tripped me. Understand the difference between your academics and your education. It's two totally different things. A lot of stuff ain't set up for us to win, you feel me? The way that they want you to learn ain't always in agreement with the way that I like to learn, you feel me? Education is life experience, you feel me? Education is you manipulating the world without harming anybody else. Education is using what's around you feel me? And making it better almost or whatnot. You might not finish academically, but off top, you should be busting your ass to get educated from the first day of college, you feel me? And the second thing is to prioritize, you feel me? That's probably the number one thing you need to learn, you feel me? Prioritize. If I knew that first day, first year, it would have been a different time today, you feel me? So, but it is what it is.
as a first generation college student, and you just think you have to get the grades, and it's like, but then again, like what helped you learn to get past that and like actually get to that education part that you were talking about earlier?
In-field experience. So I got internships like freshman year, you feel me, starting off, being proactive, getting busy. I understand this well, like I'm performing well, like they're happy with my performance, they telling me this. But you feel me, in school, like I know, like I struggled when we was talking about this in school. Something that I do, you feel me, to keep my education and my academics separate is I continue to educate myself.
All right, guys, thank you for joining in our conversation today. This is the first IE podcast, and we're going to be coming with some more stuff. But thank you to Vic Wells today, and we'll be seeing you guys another time.
Welcome back to Lights, Camera, Akron, everyone. For those who don't know, Governor DeWine has issued a statewide curfew that took effect last week. One of the problems that plagues Summit County is its epidemic of homelessness.
Yes, as Summit County reaches new heights of coronavirus cases every day, many concerns arise about how these people will find shelter amid the curfew.
Our team sought answers with the help of volunteers from different shelters and sites all around town. Let's watch. One of the biggest problems facing Summit County amid the coronavirus is this level of homeless people. Many people are struggling to find shelter and refuge amongst the upcoming lockdown. I'm standing in front of the Homeless Charity Village on Broad Street in Akron, Ohio, to see where many people can gather refuge and see how well they do amongst this virus.
So I'm Laren Campbell. I'm the advocacy coordinator for the homeless charity. We're located in the Middlebury neighborhood of Akron, Ohio. I worked in the building at 15 Broad as with the Rubber City auctions, and it became evident to us that there was a need in that area. A lot of our houseless friends would show up to auctions, and we were able to bridge them with some work, and we also had a lot of extra items that didn't sell at the end of auctions, and so it became the brainchild to start a thrift store that was run for the homeless, by the homeless, with those extra items and some space that was available at 15 Broad. And so that's sort of organically how things started with the homeless charity and village. Our outreach center at 15 Broad, which they've coined Laren's Closet, much to my humbled surprise. I would prefer it be named something else, but at any rate, we are not allowing anyone in the building. So all of our services are happening outside. We have PPE and hand sanitizer, and we're very cautious about the items that come in to make sure that we're not cross-contaminating anything. So we do provide some hot meals out of there. We provide snacks. There's camping gear, clothing, toiletries. And so we're trying to make sure that the contact with the folks that we're with, that our folks are taking the most precaution, and that we're also offering the PPE to our houseless friends that are coming there as well. Some of the basic needs that our folks were gaining by businesses, other local charities, and government agencies, the dynamic of those changed. And so our biggest need that we saw initially with the pandemic was that our folks didn't have access to water. So our folks in the past might be able to go to a local restaurant or a business, and they might be able to fill their water jugs there. And those things came to a screeching halt. And so water became our biggest need. And so we began finding sort of inventive ways to get water to them. And so we created hand washing stations with recycled water bottles, gallon bottles, laundry soap bottles, anything that we could put water in, and we were attaching soap containers to those and dropping them off at camps, and also having those outside of our building so that folks could come by and grab those. So I came to Akron U in 1992, and my first experience there as a volunteer with what we like to call the houseless community was at St. Bernard's Soup Kitchen. So that started my journey with the advocacy for our friends who are without four walls and a roof, if you will. And it was a humbling experience. Sort of everything that I thought I knew about people who were were houseless or considered homeless turned out to really not be the case. And so getting to know their individual stories and how just some personal contact on a weekly basis with the same person or bi-weekly basis, depending on when they would show up, really was quite an amazing experience for me. And these people became people that I grew to care about and really considered some of them to be friends. I find great comfort in knowing that you can build a relationship with anyone that walks the face of the earth, right? And that there doesn't have to be a stigmatism that this person is somehow going to harm me or they're going to try to get funds from me or whatever it is or make me feel uncomfortable. I think starting with hello is a great place to start and determining whether that person is somebody that you need to have boundaries about or whether that's someone that you can build a relationship just like any other healthy relationship step that you would make. I find it no different with our houseless community than meeting anyone else that walks the face of the earth. A lot of times with our friends who are houseless, they give more than any people who I could ever imagine. They freely give what they have. And when they give, they don't give with expectation. They give as if the person already owned it. And that's what I think is probably one of the most beautiful lessons.
Thank goodness we have people like that are willing to help people in need.
I agree. Homelessness shouldn't even be a thing, but sadly it is, and it provides all the more reason for us to give back to our communities. On that note, giving back is one of the grabs of the person in our next segment.
Author and wellness coach Carolyn Smith has released her new book, Self-Elevate, a woman's journey to self-empowerment, highlighting some tips and insight on how to be a better person from the eyes of a woman. I'm excited, so let's watch.
2020 has been an unprecedented year. Virtually everyone has been affected by this new reality imposed by COVID-19. And now more than ever, we all need inspirational figures to help us overcome these newfound hardships. Enter Carolyn Drone Smith, an author, wellness and fitness coach, and founder of the Self-Elevate platform.
Self-Elevate is a women's empowerment movement. What inspired me was some of the obstacles I have encountered over the years in my journey of self-care. And I had to tap into my own self-empowerment and to help me navigate my way through those challenges in life. And I found through those processes that we have the power. It's up to us to use that power, and we can self-elevate through any of our difficulties in life and challenges that come our way.
Carolyn's message is very much a holistic one. She emphasizes the importance of physical, mental, and spiritual wellness, having been faced with challenges in her life that severely impacted all three. In her recent book, Self-Elevate, A Woman's Journey to Empowerment, Carolyn describes her former struggles with obesity.
I was suffering from high blood pressure, anxiety, and panic attacks at that time. And a lot of stuff was going on with me that was very unhealthy. And so at that point, when I realized I didn't recognize the person in the mirror, I decided to make a change.
As well as how her road to physical recovery was impeded by unexpected tragedy.
In the book, I talk about the loss of my mother and my sister. They passed away within a week of each other. And the grief impacted me so that it affected my mental wellness, of course, and my spiritual wellness. And I had to make a decision if I was going to continue on the fitness journey because I had just gotten so overwhelmed with grief.
As it happens, Carolyn didn't let her grief push her to self-destruction. She went on to compete in several bodybuilding competitions, at 50 years old no less, and the confidence she gained from overcoming the adversity in her life led to her creating Self-Elevate, where she strives to help others overcome their own challenges. However, she believes she wouldn't have been able to compete in the first place if she hadn't found a way to get her mental wellness straightened out, and the solution she found was therapy.
That was something that I had never done before, and I thought it was a stigma attached to, anybody that, was seeking help through a therapist. But it's almost like you're looking for a personal trainer, there's that person that can help you navigate through some things in life that you can't do on your own. And so I think with COVID now, mental wellness is very challenging because we've all been, you know, on pause, and our normalcy has been taken away, and it's been very challenging. And so this is like a time where you really have to recreate yourself in your own space, maybe redecorate and just make more light of different things. You know, I try to laugh more. I try to find things on Netflix to make me laugh and keep my mind off of everything else that's going on in the world. So the mental wellness is something that is very important.
Life is often filled with uncertainty about the future and a pressure to succeed, and that applies even more so to college students. For them, Carolyn believes the key to overcoming the inevitable challenges that lie ahead is to continue focusing on all three aspects of wellness, your physical, mental, and spiritual, and keeping all of them as strong as possible. That way you can dedicate all of yourself to facing whatever obstacles lie in your path. But whoever you are, no matter your background, no matter what you're struggling with, there's one thing you should always remember.
You have the power. That's what self-elevate is all about. You're responsible for yourself and you have the power. Sometimes we don't think we have it, but everybody has it. And that's all I can say as far as, you know, tap into that inner self and keep going. Don't give up. Don't give up on yourself.
You can watch our full interview with Carolyn on our LCA YouTube channel.
Stress is a pretty common thing in college, and coupled with the isolation that the pandemic has brought, makes for a bad combination.
We spoke with psychology instructor Tanya Lodge to get more information on how to deal with these emotions amid the pandemic. Let's look.
Mental health amid times of crisis is often overlooked. With cultural and racial inequality in the forefront, a global pandemic subjugating the planet, and the socio-economic status quo being drastically shifted spells a recipe for some serious problems.
We do see a lot of depression, we see a lot of anxiety, and a lot of what's been happening across the country, we've been seeing a lot of post-trauma responses, which is post-traumatic stress disorder or even adjustment disorder with mixed mood, anxiety, depression, or conduct experiences.
2020, the year of uncertainties, introduced many to the magnitude of tragedy that can befall them at any moment.
We are products of our environment, and sometimes we are predisposed genetically to mental health disorders. Our environment is key and critical in terms of if we experience, how it manifests, and then again, how we respond to stress, anxiety, and depression.
Dr. Lodge speaks on the importance of mental health for students and people in the community. She says that students and people in the community become products of their environment. The pandemic has presented uncertain conditions. It prompts different responses in the brain and the way it processes stress.
Taking care of our bodies is the most important thing that we can do for our mental health right now. Eating good meals, getting adequate sleep, making sure we have physical outlets where we're exercising and stretching and doing things physical. So we want to make sure that we're being holistic in terms of how we're responding to everything we are experiencing from a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual perspective.
Overcoming these obstacles can be challenging for most people, considering that they are juggling this on top of all the other responsibilities that they have.
What happens is when we are exposed to something traumatic, and I also use the term disturbing because most people don't consider certain events traumatic because it could be the norm, it could be what they're used to. So sometimes trauma can be relative to the person's experience.
She provided some tips on how to be better equipped to handle them.
So A, we have to be aware of it. B, we have to normalize it. C, we have to feel comfortable to talk about it, and not just talk about it, but to share what our experiences are and then seek help.
This year has been a tough year for all of us, and the psychological damage that follows, if unaddressed, will be a force to be reckoned with.
We have to have conversations to kind of see how people are thinking and processing information. So what are you responding to, and what kind of thoughts are you having about it? Because it's the self-defeating thoughts that leads to more self-defeating behaviors. It's important, and the more we can have these kinds of conversations, I think the better off we will be as a people, as a community, and as a country.
Dr. Lodge encourages us all to take care of ourselves, mind, body, and spirit during these difficult times. I'm Tyrese West. Lights, Camera, Akron, ZTV.
Mental health is very important during this time, and it's a good idea to pay close attention to it.
Agreed. Well, it looks like that's all the time that we have for today's episode.
Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, double tap into our posts on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at ZTV LCA for the latest.
I'm Tyrese West.
And I am Naquan James.
And thank you so much for watching. Lights, Camera, Akron.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. Do you want to gain experience in video production, professional social media, or working with real clients? Visit the UA School of Communications online or follow us on social media to learn more. ZTV, make media, make a difference.